All right, hey guys, Jerry from Showtime Audio. So we're done with the 2024 Mini Cooper project. So this is a stereo upgrade. This one had the bass audio. So if you remember, what that means is it's in essence deck power running 6 speakers, 4 4-inch speakers with no tweeters, and then some 6.5-inch subs under the seat, which technically should be 8s. Very simple, no amplifier. It's a very simple setup. So the car is gorgeous. I mean, it's a John Cooper works, so it's got all the accents, all the badging, the red lines lowered, the black wheels. I mean, just a gorgeous, gorgeous high performance car, but the stereo is far from it. So now we did a complete stereo upgrade. So we swapped out all the speakers for Morel's, underseat subs, door speakers. We added a match amplifier with built-in DSP to run everything. And then obviously installed it, tuned it, fabricated the mounts, all that good stuff. It's completely plug and play. Literally not a single wire was cut. It's all, the speakers are plug and play, made for the vehicle. The amp harness is made for the vehicle. And then we made an amp bracket so that it's for the vehicle. So everything here can be reversed. The nice thing about doing it this way, retains all the functionality. So all your chimes, everything works exactly the same. And aesthetically, the car looks no different than from factory, other than it sounds amazing. The amplifier is in the same location where the factory amplifier in. All our wire is dressed and follows the factory harnesses, so it looks as if it came with the car. The DSP definitely helps. We looked at the signal that was coming out of the original deck, and they do a lot of DSP or EQing to make the not so great speakers sound a little better. But basically they're removing a bunch of information where they know that the speaker fails, right? And that's why the car sounds so bad. Not only is it missing tweeters and missing actual subs, but they also limit the signal. So they EQ it in a way so that the speaker doesn't get the information that it can't play or that it doesn't like. So we have to go in there and repair that. We have to go in there and basically fix the input signal, flatten it out so that we can start from zero, so that we can start from a point where we can improve on it. Otherwise, if you don't do that initial step, then you're just working from a really poor base. Basically, your foundation is messed up. And if your foundation is messed up, your house is going to be messed up, right? So we need to fix the foundation. Once we got that fixed and in line, then we go in there and we can actually tweak it and tune it and adjust it and make sure it sounds phenomenal. This thing sounds amazing. I mean, the fact that it's just some, I mean, they're 4-inch drivers. They're literally that big. And then obviously we have the 8s under the seat, but huge difference, night and day over the factory. It's just a great improvement. So this is a shot of what's coming out of the radio. So this is the signal that's coming out of the radio to the factory speakers. Now this is the front section. So what you'll notice is that the bass is boosted because they're trying to make those 6.5s do the work of 8s, which is what they actually should be, right? And then they fall off a cliff, which is this big drop here. And if you could see, there's this giant valley. So in essence, this line should be, see, if you see there's a small, hold on a second. See this red line? That's the 0 dB line. So think of that as your reference line, right? So everything on the line is exactly like 0 dB, in other words, where it should be. And then all this other stuff is way below. So let's say this right here. Let's say this 125 hertz. At 125 hertz, it is 20 dB down. Now, to give you an idea, that is an insane amount. Most humans can hear at 3 decibel increments. In other words, 3 to 5 is what they say. But 3 decibels is like the lowest that a human can discern. This is 20. So if you want to, think about that, that's quite a bit different from 3, right? So it's a noticeable drop. And that goes pretty much from about 125 all the way to about 400 hertz. Then it goes up. Now, the thing to note is, let's say at the 400 hertz mark right there, 500 hertz, it's still like 10 to 15 dB down. So that's still lower than it should be. And then over here on the high side, they're probably about 20. And then they tried to boost at the really high end because there's no tweeters in the car, right? So in essence, they're manipulating the output signal to get these not so great speakers to sound better, right? Okay, and then let me see. Okay, now this is the rear signal, which is even better. Not. It starts out at about 400 hertz, right? So that's at the 0 dB. And then it goes down and it just literally goes straight down till about 8K. And then it starts to go up slightly. But again, like I told you, that's still roughly almost 20 dB down. So just very, very limited signal. So you're not going to get that. So a lot of times we get the question, well, what if I just swap the speakers? And we did originally, because we like to do it in stages, especially when we're working with a brand new car, because we're trying to figure out, okay, can we get away with just speakers? Can we get away with just amplification? Just to understand so that we know. So when a client asks us, we can tell them, we can give them an educated answer. You can just swap the speakers and it will get a little better. But here's the problem. If the information isn't there, the music, the information isn't there, the new fancy, fantastic speaker can't play what isn't there. 20 dB down is basically not there. I mean, it's there, but it's almost nothing. So your improvement is going to be marginal. Now, once you fix the signal with a DSP and then amplify it, then your improvement will be much, much better. So just to give you a rough idea, so this is the rear. So this is the rear once we fix the input signal. And so we're not worried about this part. The reason we didn't, one, the information isn't there at all. But the reason we're not worried about it is because our crossover point is right around there. So we don't need any of the information below that point because this is just the rear speakers. On the front speakers, we do want to go all the way across. But on the rear speakers, and if you can see, here's our red line. And if you can see that green bar, it tracks roughly down the red line. And you want to get your input flat, right? Because again, you want to start from 0. You want to start from the starting line, beginning. You don't want to start 10, 20 feet behind the starting line, right? We want to start from the starting line. We want to start with a good foundation, not a horrible foundation, right? So, and then so again, that's the rear original. That's the rear fixed. So again, it's not perfect, but it's hard to see here, but this graph is in 5 dB increments, right? So there's little 5 dB increments. So if the line is like 1 square up, 1 square down, 1 square up, 1 square down, like whatever, like if you think about it that way, you're still technically flat because the human ear can't hear that variation. So even though it's, let's say 5 dB up, 5 dB down, 5 dB, or 3, let's just say 3. Let's say it's 3 up, 3 down, 3. It's still in essence flat. You're not going to be able to hear that it's slightly off. So that would be considered flat.
Visit our website at showtimeaudiochicago.com.